I hope everybody is doing well considering what is going on in crazy country. All right, I have a story that I've been wanting to bring to you from the Real Deal. It's real estate news. But I want you to pay attention to this because this is key to us staying ahead of what is happening. We're supposed to keep watch, and that is what Sister Girl is trying to do. So, Trump dictates deadline for federal agencies to leave DC. This is a very underrated story for several reasons. And when I get to the end of this story, I will show you why, because the other deets are at the top. But it is a bellwether of sorts. It is letting you know that if the departments, all the federal departments in DC, need to downsize and relocate to someplace else that's costly. If I'm not mistaken, I think DC may be slated to be a smart city. Y'all know it was a chocolate city. In any place where we are, they don't have any issue with dislocating where we are. But I want y'all to think about this story from two different perspectives. So, one, this is a story about the government literally moving its headquarters elsewhere or moving everything so that nothing, all the bureaus that are considered the federal government are not in one place anymore. So you won't have a Washington D.C. You'll have a bureau in Texas and a bureau in Alabama, a bureau, someplace wherever they think it's going to be safe, and they know, which is when I say they, these people in these political positions and these politicians, the president, they know, and they've appointed who they want in these different offices for this particular time. So don't be distracted about all the other stuff that's going on, although it is still going to impact us, like the cuts, the money that Elon Musk is, toying with, and all the different little stupid illegal things that they are doing to collapse the economy. All these things play a role in the Great Reset. And so we don't have to hide talking about it because they're not hiding what they're doing. So we are going to talk about it out in the open. So it says the president wants departments relocating to less costly places. And I'll put a link to this story in the description. So it says the heads of all federal agencies are on the clock to come up with a plan for their departments to leave the nation's capital. The other thing that this signifies to me is that it is almost certain that Babylon is going to be attacked. It probably, if it's not going to be attacked, they are expecting this huge earthquake to come, and DC could be slated to be in the water. So the goal, and I told y'all about this a couple of years ago, but the goal is to move everything inland, like to Utah, Kansas. That's why everybody's trying to live in middle America, where it's rocky and mountainous, like Colorado, Arizona, that type of place. They are definitely trying to leave DC. So again, I think that Donald Trump was put in office to collapse the economy and to restructure the government, to delete as many people as possible, and to make it painful for all of us. And so, what you're going to see in a different way is the same thing that happened during COVID, where people were made to stay home. Well, we had to stay home because of the um, virus before, but now everybody's hip to the virus. So now it's the economy. Everybody's having to stay home because of the economy. You're not gonna have any money. You won't have a job. You People are gonna be in the streets. People are gonna be fighting because their lives are disrupted. There could be some other type of false flag attack where the communications are going down. I'm noticing that in where I live in a rural area, utility poles are being replaced. I mean, they're just driving around. Since the storm last year, they have been coming in and replacing all the old power lines with new power poles and the new little, I guess, well, I don't know, whatever the little things are that holds the lines. Everything is new. And we've been, people have been without power for a couple hours as they do this in different parts of town. So I noticed yesterday they were spraying in front of my house, so they're getting ready to replace the power poles in front of my house on my street. They're doing my street, but my house and the neighbor's house, we're slated probably to get power poles sometime soon. And they're on the corner, so I'm assuming that it's going to be soon. So something is going on, and this is, it's really important for you to pay attention to not only what's going on in the news, but what's going on in your community, because I really do think that we're very close to societal collapse in the United States, and it's not going to be pretty. Um, One, because everybody knows how white people going to act. You know, Nobody's looking forward to that. And then, everybody else is being sent home or leaving or whatever, hiding in the cracks. But we know that we have a bullseye on our back and on our forehead. So we have to be aware of what is going on at all times so that we can maneuver the troubles that are coming for Jacob. Okay, so it says Donald Trump's administration is giving agency heads until April the 14th, which is not long, to propose relocation plans for their respective bureaus and offices out of Washington, D.C., the Washington Post reported. The guidance of the Office of Management and Budget and the Office of Personnel Management calls on agencies to set sights on less costly parts of the nation. So what's going to happen is all these bureaus are going to move out of D.C. and they're going to move into states that are deemed safe according to the 2025 map. Go look at the 2025 map video that I did. And probably according to the Deagle report. And they know about the Deagle report because they going to create the circumstances that will create that many people being deleted from Western nations. So, um, there is a lot of transitioning happening, although we don't see it all. And all this stuff that Elon Musk is doing, you see where he accidentally misquoted stuff and having to go pull down stuff from his account where he lied about savings and he's cutting this and cutting that. Stuff is going through the courts. You watch the Supreme Court, they'll do um, a pause, a temporary pause on something and wait a couple weeks before they make a final decision. All those delays means people don't get money. Subcontractors don't get money. Uh, Nations don't get the money that they're owed. Small businesses are not getting the money that they're owed. People are getting laid off. Landlords are not getting their rents, so they can't make their mortgage payments, pay their insurances. So it's setting up a system where it's going to be a huge buying market for folks who have money in these asset management companies like BlackRock to come in, scoop up all the properties that people lose, and then we're going to be renting from them. And then they're going to make it so where, you know, it's going to be almost impossible to rent if you have something in your digital repertoire that they dislike. So that time is coming. They're going to know everything. They have a record of everything. They know about everybody. Our digital footprints are everywhere. They know all the videos you looked at. They know all the texts you sent. They know all the conversations you had. So no need for you thinking, oh, you're gonna run and you're gonna, be not found. Nope, it's not the case. Not the case at all. So, just pay attention to what's happening when it comes to real estate, because that's going to be a part of the economic collapse. Is people are going to lose their homes. People are not going to be able to afford rent. And this is why I told everybody to make sure you have tents or plans to be able to stay someplace else, put your stuff in storage. Also, you remember I was telling y'all, I don't know if I remember, I told y'all about the storage facilities, why the storage facilities were being purchased because and built because they knew they were planning in advance for people to be homeless, and that's the only place they could afford to store their belongings while they worked or did whatever, just lived. So it is a very interesting time to be alive, to see all this stuff happening. But I definitely believe that Donald Trump and Elon Musk came in to collapse the economy, and everybody should know Elon Musk is the biggest bullshitter. I don't even know what is wrong with white people. I don't even know what's wrong with greedy black people to just be like, oh yeah, Elon Musk, he does this, and his Dogecoin and all this stupid stuff. I mean, oh gosh, people are so simple. The love of money is the root of all evil. And when you are supporting evil people, Elon Musk has a history of being racist. Elon Musk has a history of not paying his people what they are owed. He likes to exploit people, wanting people to work for free, counter to what the Bible tells us. If a man works, a man is supposed to be compensated fairly for his wages. Um, that's not a biblical way. Everything about this administration is anti-Messiah, anti-Torah, and so we need to think of everything, through the lenses of how do their actions fit with Torah. This is not how kings take care of their people. So these are not kings; these are tyrants. These are pharaohs. These are not good people who are in authority right now. Thankfully, we didn't put them there. Unfortunately, we have to deal with the consequences of the people who supported them and put them there, and the actions of the tyrants themselves. So it says the guidance wasn't the only move by the administration on Wednesday with a direct impact on real estate. Trump also signed an executive order giving agencies only 7 days to submit a property inventory. They also have 30 days to inventory all leases that can be terminated. So some of these ancillary offices that the federal government has in different places in different states, they're probably going to go away, which means people in those places will likely lose jobs, and people that rely on those offices because they can't go to DC and it's almost impossible to get a person on the phone today. You can't just go in and talk to somebody. So it's going to get to a point where you could see a civil war situation setting up because states are no longer going to be able to rely on the government. So the states are going to have to either form a new union, or they're going to just, I don't know what's going to happen. This is like unprecedented. So again, just pay attention. But this is a underrated story in my opinion. So it says from there, the GSA, which is a General Services Administration, will have 60 days to form a plan to dispose of any real estate deemed unnecessary. So when the government gets rid of real estate, it sells it dirt cheap. Guess who's going to have the money to buy the real estate? All the rich people that was at the inauguration, all the people who's in on the collapse, all the people who make money buying low and selling high, all the people who control the Wall Street and the economy. So we're going to lose by losing the offices, losing the personnel, and they're going to win because they will get this real estate. And you know what they're going to do with this real estate? They're going to turn them into 15-minute cities. They're not going to get rid of these old buildings. They're just going to go in, rehab them, turn them into 15-minute cities. Like some of those fancy hotels in DC. The government doesn't own them, but guess what? If nobody's in DC, they ain't going to need them. They're going to go out of business. They're going to just walk away from those properties. Guess who's going to buy them? Real estate asset management groups like BlackRock. When they buy them, guess what? A hotel room has a room, a bathroom, and everything you need to live in it. It may or may not have a kitchen or a restaurant or whatever, or they may retrofit those rooms, but they have everything you need for, say, a 15-minute city for an apartment based on whatever metric they want to have. If that place is still going to be there, it could just literally be destroyed, and through war, and not be there anymore. So I feel like there's one or two scenarios that could happen. Either they're getting rid of this stuff because they're moving AI, they're gonna be in the middle of the country, so they can, a lot of people are not gonna move, so they will just hire a new workforce and shift money. But there are a lot of variables. We just got to keep watch. A massive relocation of federal bureaus to parts unknown will create winners and losers across the country, but those at risk of office the most at risk are office owners in the nation's capital region. About 15% of the region's workforce is made up of federal employees. Diana Parks of the National Federation Development Association, which represents landlords who lease to the federal government, warned of a significant hit to the area's commercial real estate market, which is what they want. And you're gonna see this happen all over the place. Any place that's designated to be a 15-minute city, or any place that's slated to be deleted for whatever reason, got to get rid of evidence, whatever. Uh, you're gonna see this start to happen. So it says for all of it to hit the market in a short time, it's just a supply and demand issue that'll drive down the value of that real estate considerably, Parks told the Post. And that is the goal, because they want to buy all the assets they can and control where we live, control where we work, control everything. They're going to buy low and rent high. There's a reasonable question as to whether Trump's timeline can even be met. Fewer than half of the government leases are eligible for termination, according to GSA. Even those that can be terminated can be led into drawn-out legal battles if landlords alleges breaches of contract, which that could happen. But with all the courts in Trump's control, because he has the Supreme Court and he appointed a bunch of federal judges during his first term, it could end up being favorable for him, because he is the king of retaliation. So those judges not going to do nothing that, it just seems like people in those positions were selected for a reason, and they're going along with the program. So it says, but there's no doubt that the Trump administration is on a cost-cutting spree in federal real estate. And notice he's a real estate mogul, so of course he cares about the real estate. As of Wednesday, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency reported 254 terminations, 114.7 million in annual lease value canceled. That's nothing. And a total savings of $255.3 million. That's nothing, considering how many contracts they actually have in with the federal government, and how much our money that comes out of our check before we get it goes to them in contracts. But they want to cut your little contract. They want to cut your little $1-2 million contract, or your $1,200 contract, saying that it's wasteful, while they get all the money and glory for saving money, and then get to go in and buy up all the cheap real estate. This is why I do not like rich people. I don't envy rich people, because you always, in order for you to be that wealthy, you have to cheat people. Unless you were born into a family that was rich, wealthy from some other means, legitimate means, like your family sitting on top of a oil, um, a oil under the ground, or you got a diamond mine or something. And even then, it ain't yours. Everything belongs to us. So it's just crazy. It's crazy. It is very crazy. So I just want to share this story with y'all because something is going on, and I feel like is tied to this economic collapse. And I want y'all to just be aware of what's happening. All this, look over here, look over here, look over here. Maybe when this stuff goes through the courts with these firings and so on and so forth, they won't stand and people will get their jobs back. But by the time they get their jobs back, the government ain't gonna have no money. The economy gonna be done collapsed. The people gonna have to move out of the offices anyway. Trump is still the president, so he's gonna oversee the collapse and the selling off of the property. Of course, his brother, his son-in-law, is a huge real estate mogul. So it's so suspect and unfortunate for us. But again, we need to watch so that when we get into our kingdom, we don't rule like this. We don't rule like this. We don't move like this. This should not be our character. And for folks who have that Wall Street, I need to make money, hustle, hustle, hustle. You have to, in order to play the stock market, Wall Street, somebody got to lose for you to win. And it's just a game. It's like going to Vegas, putting your money in the slot machines. They're gonna take until that machine is fed enough and programmed to release that money to whoever when it makes enough money. Until then, it ain't giving up nothing. Same perspective. So get rid of your Babylonian mentality when it comes to money and capitalism, because this system does not work. It is exploitative. We should know best, because this country would not exist without the labor of not only our ancestors but ourselves, because they've cheated us out of wages, not paid us fairly so that we can afford to live in this country. We can't even afford to buy eggs. Eggs, $6.75 a dozen here in the country. Why? Don't make no sense. Anyway, the other story that I want to share with you is one: the federal government moves to offload 443 non-core assets. Two, Doge cancels U.S. Geological Survey lease in Manolo Park. Manolo Park is where all the tech kings come from. One of the places. Um, Also, the fact that they are talking about the Geological Survey Office is interesting, because guess what? The earth is shaking and quaking and shaking. And you want to cancel the U.S. Geological Survey lease in California? Does that sound sane to you at all? No. So it also says to me that they know something big is coming, and they are preparing for it. They want to be prepared, but they don't want us to be prepared. And we're all distracted, not really paying attention and putting the dots together so that we can make moves for our benefit, because they're not going to help us. We need to get that in our brains. They ain't helping us. All right. The next story here is GSA launches office sharing program for federal agencies. That ain't gonna work. And then the last one is eviction moratoriums are back, which is good, because this stuff that they are doing, kind of like with COVID, they they create these situations where we can't go to work, we can't pay our rent. If they don't use biological warfare on us, then hey, we won't be sick. There won't be cooties in the air. We won't have these issues. All this filthy nastiness and plagues and stuff come from them, not from us, because we don't be doing that. We clean. And we don't be tinkering with science. Not like that. So, now it's going to be, the economy is screwed up because of the tariffs and because of Trump's federal workforce firings and withholding of resources or funds that are supposed to go to contractors and paid to contracts to nonprofit organizations. So we got a real big thing that's gonna plop on us very fast, and a lot of people are predicting the end of March, which I would suspect between March and May. I suspect something big is going to happen because Trump is doing a lot of stuff to the economy that is making it to where it is not able to sustain itself. So I don't know how far he's going to go with the tariffs, and I don't know how far he's going to go with um, this firing of employees, and if the federal government, I'm sorry, if the Supreme Court and the lower courts are going to reverse his decisions and say it's illegal, breach of contract, so on and so forth. Because that would mean the government could be sued for a whole lot of money, which they don't care because the government ain't going to have no money. And you can't sue what doesn't exist anymore, because if this collapses, they're just going to announce the new name of the new corporation, and then the old corporation just going to be bankrupt and don't have no money. They're going to be done siphoning all the money out of the old and put it offshore, did whatever they're going to do with it. And you're just going to be ass out. We're going to be ass out. So if you are in a situation where you rent, you might want to buy you a tent. I'm just going to keep it straight up, because we all might be living in the streets, because these landlords are not going to care about people being in their property and not having money. They'd probably rather for them to sit empty and lose them than to let somebody stay in them. um, if you own your house, you may want to also consider having a tent and having provisions, because we never know when a wildfire is going to pop up. We never know when bad storms are going to pop up. Insurance companies are canceling policies, in advance of stuff happening. Then we're having these crazy weather patterns that are just insane. Like in South Carolina, we got 175 wildfires. We went from it being real wet, raining, to real dry. Um, a lot of trees and stuff are down from the last storm we had that came from the hurricane. So there's a lot of dry dead wood. So if they just start fires in different places, guess what? People got to evacuate. People are not prepared. So like preparedness is really key right now, to be able to move at the drop of a dime, to be able to hunker down at the drop of a dime, to have, the basics of what you need for any situation. Be prepared to move, be prepared to sit still, and try your best to have people around you that you can trust. Especially for you single ladies, I know it's very difficult to trust people right now, and folks ain't acting right. But it's essential that you have somebody who knows how to rough it, um, and who can work good under pressure, because they're getting ready to put a lot of pressure on us, and we're all going to have to make decisions. Even myself, my situation is getting rough, because hey, my income comes from the government. And when it is not acting right, it don't act right. And nobody don't care. The grocery store don't care that the government is not playing fair. They don't care about politics. They want $6.75 for their dozen of eggs, or you get out of their store. So anyway, think about the things that you could cook and eat that's low cost, low maintenance, that you can probably eat out of can. You can carry with you if you need to. That doesn't need to be refrigerated. You need to be thinking about charcoal and all sorts of things. How you going to cook out on the open fire if you need to get rid of your food that you have, sharing with your friends, having things, partner with somebody. So if somebody has a lot of meat, you got some vegetables, y'all can share. Having a garden, even if it's a container garden, go to the grocery store and get buckets. Ask, can you get the buckets out of the deli and out of the cake decorating sections, because they have icing and all kinds of stuff that they use to store food. Drill you some holes, put you some food in them buckets, and then if you have to move, you can at least move your food with you. So, and the Dollar Tree is another option. They have a lot of cheap pots for $1. Get those pots, put you some veggies in those pots and herbs, so that if you need to move, you will have your things that you could just pick up and carry with you no matter where you go. Even if you have to live in the woods, if you have to live in a park, whatever you got to do, or if you have to take them and leave them at a relative's house or a friend house or whatever, you will have something to contribute. Don't be thinking, oh, the Lord gonna make a way, to think people just gonna open their door for you when shit happens, because they not. Let me tell you, because I probably am not. Just seeing how people are now. Thankfully, I live in a little small town where everybody knows everybody, and it won't be so bad. But still, people are wicked today. So you really got to be thinking about everything, and just be proactive instead of reactive. Stuff is going to start going up, so go to thrift stores, go to the dollar stores, Dollar Tree, get the things that you need to survive now, because these people are planning to exit. This administration, this is the CEO of restructuring and demolishing of the old to bring in the new. So please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload new content. I will put a link to this story in the description. Make sure you read these other stories and keep up with the real estate market, because that's where the crash is going to happen in real estate. Don't know if it's going to happen first or if it's going to happen with the economy, but there are going to be 2 or 3 things that happen at one time. You're going to have a food shortage, a food crisis, and a supply crisis because of tariffs. You're going to have the real estate market is going to crash because stuff is overinflated anyway. Then you have all these different dynamics that are happening with the federal government. And lastly, we're going to have, the economic collapse, because what's happening is not sustainable. The Ponzi scheme is up and the emperor has no clothes. So just be ready, y'all. Just be ready. Alright, like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload new content. Follow me on Odyssey, Rumble, Instagram, and on Facebook. If you'd like to support the channel, you can donate to my Venmo and my Ko-fi. The links are in the description. I greatly appreciate all the donations that I receive, because this is a labor of love, and I love my people, so I want us to be ready for what's coming. And I don't know how long the internet is going to be up, so if you can go back through some of these old stories, catch some of the stuff that on this channel that I've talked about, a long time ago, and I'm not necessarily going back and circling and rehashing stuff that I talked about a long time ago. But a lot of this stuff I have talked about for years, been writing about it, been, trying to prepare people. And because of the type of content that I produce, my channel is hidden. So, take note of that. Just because somebody has small numbers does not mean they're not putting out good information. It just means the algorithms know, the powers that be know, and they don't want you to know, so they are hiding our stuff. So make sure you go back through some of these old videos and look at the topics, because there are things that are getting ready to come that we've already discussed that I can't talk about again. And I don't necessarily want to talk about them again because there's too much new stuff happening. So anyway, lastly, continue to prep, continue to pray, continue to seek the Most High, obey those law, statutes, and commandments. Keep the Sabbath, because these are the things that will show the Most High that you're sealed, that you belong to Him. Make sure you repent daily. for sins of commission and sins of omission. Returning back to Him requires repentance frequently, because we're always doing stuff in this sinful world that makes us disobedient. So repent and just make sure that you are trying to wake people up, because time is running out, and a lot of people just don't want to hear these messages because they don't want to hear doom and gloom. But baby, the gloom is coming, and the doom is too, and they're gonna wish they had somebody to talk to and tell them about what's coming. It's too much information out here about what's coming. Too many movies about what's coming. So we just got to make sure that we are trying to wake up as many people as we can. But when it's time for the prophets and seers and watchmen to be quiet, y'all better be quiet, because these folks gonna be cutting up and telling. That's what I'm gonna tell you. And the biggest teller's gonna look like us. All right, y'all. This is Marta K. Love